Good morning, everyone. So today we will take another session of Indian Express, and news are very interesting, both from the perspective of prelims as well as mains, and we have to analyze it. And probably, by looking at the first photo of the Indian Express itself, that light combat helicopter at one side, and probably on page number 6 there is a news that Gujars and Bakarwal communities are protesting against the ST status to Pahadis. So you see that in nearly all the paper there is a same theme, and the theme is of continuity and change. Okay, so we see that there is inherent contradictions, that we are feeling both the things, we are seeing both the things in the overall paper. Now, these are the news which we will take. First news is ST status to Pahadis. Now, second is different pretext of education, and both can be seen in the context of paper 1. And probably if you have seen the paper of society or GS or paper 1 today of this year, then you will see that the first topic is how relevant is the first topic with perspective from mains paper also and with perspective to prelims also. Now, different pretext of education. This topic is completely related to the GS paper 1 and that of essay. Now, real Shiv Sena. Naturally, there is this Shinde versus Thackeray conflict, and what are the rules and the mandate of election commission in deciding this. The other topic is live streaming of SC judgment, though it is on the opinion page, but it is important from the perspective of a citizenry, that is an informed citizenry. Now, text cut for wieldy. You see that this topic is very long, and it is important from the perspective of GS2, GS3, essay, all the other perspectives. Now, the other is Nobel Prize, Science Tech, LCA, Security and Defense, failing decomposer. This is important from the perspective of environment and ecology. Now, there is this important topic, be empathetic, by the court, where it highlighted two important aspects, that aspect of writs, and apart from that, it also said the senior advocate should voluntarily give stipend to the young lawyers. Now, that was important, all the topics about from the mains perspective 1 to 4, though it will help in the prelims also. Now, pre-Nobel Prize, Swedish academic Svante Pääbo got the Nobel Prize. Second, PMI data. That what is PMI data? Now, there is this important topic, quote, technology is a great instrument for forging solidarity and overcoming the obstacles of distance. Yes, it is very important in that context. And we will also analyze, though it is not an essay topic, but what could be the consequence of peace above justice, and what was the context of it. So, starting with the first news, made in India helicopters. The most important point in this news is that it is made by HAL. You have to remember it. But the thing is that right now what we are seeing, it is only made in to the extent of 45% in India, which subsequently will arise around 50%, 55% in the later date. Now, why there was a need of HAL or light combat helicopter? See, in the pretext of Kargil war, we realized that a homegrown lightweight assault helicopter is needed. Before that, the helicopters we were using were Chetak and Cheetah, and these were the utility helicopters. Though Chetak was used as armed vehicle with the name of Lancer, but largely their focus was on utility. means carrying weight. Subsequently, we imported some helicopters which served as both utility as well as assault, but largely the homegrown and the indigenization of defense weapon was missing. So in this context, LCH has been designed and only started only after 1919. The first test was conducted somewhere around in 2010, but that is not important. What is important is a twin engine dedicated combat helicopter of 5.8 ton class. Okay, that's why it is categorized as lightweight. Okay, that's why, see, 5.8, that's why it is categorized as lightweight. Now, LCS has the maximum takeoff speed of 5.8 tons, maximum speed of 268 kilometers per hour, range of 550 kilometers, endurance of over 3 hours, and service ceiling. See, some facts are important from the perspectives of other state service commissions also, like what is the weight, maximum speed or range, and endurance of 3 kilometers per hour. 3 hours in a single flight. And the maximum density altitude which we can fly is 6.5 kilometers. You see that it will use, and yes, it will be used as a combat one. Particularly in the hilly area, it is comfortable. Now, the helicopter uses radar absorbing material to lower radar signature and has a significantly crash proof structure. We know about it, that when, because there are so many radars, so it has to be radar absorbing material. The helicopter is equipped with a counter measure dispensing system that protects it from the enemy radar, that is the continuation of the first point, or infrared seekers of the enemy missiles. As far as weapon systems are concerned, a 20 millimeter turret gun, 70 millimeters rocket, and air-to-air missiles systems are on board. The subsequent clarity will come at a later stage, but right now this is the thing. Now, LCH is powered by 2 French origin Sakti engines manufactured by the HAL. See, this is where the 45% indigenization is possible, because even right now on engine we are still dependent upon the foreign companies. For example, Kaveri, we are renaming it Kaveri engine in case of nuclear submarines. But the thing is that it is being off-sourced from the Rolls-Royce. Now, these features of LCH have the capability to combat roles such as restrictions of enemy air defense, counter-insurgency warfare, combat search and rescue, anti-tank and counter-surface missiles. So, this was all about the LCH, and at a later stage probably some developments will come that what kind of weapon are still being used. So, figuratively we have completed this topic. Now, Bar Council of India. See, on the page number 4, just wait a minute. Yes, page number 6, there is a news that how Delhi High Court has told the senior lawyers to be empathetic. Now, the case in point is that, according to, there was an advocate of 29 years who filed a petition that there should be a minimum stipend paid by the Bar Council of India. So, in this regard, it is important to understand 2 things. That what is the role of Bar Council in India? So, the role of it performs the regulatory functions by prescribing standards of professional conduct and etiquettes, and by exercising disciplinary jurisdictions over the bar of different states, and to safeguard the rights, privilege and interest of advocate. So, within this purview, some advocates filed the petition that there should be a minimum stipend. So, and the Bar Council of India also constitute funds for the following purpose: giving financial assistance to the organized welfare schemes for the poor, disabled or other advocate, giving legal aid and stabilizing law libraries. So, in this purview, you see that a health insurance is given to the advocates who are registered with any of the bar council in India, but you see there is no direct stipend. Second, it also gives legal aid when and as required and establishing law library. So the problem is that whenever a person, young advocates join, a senior advocate of that matter, start practicing, so there is a problem that, you know, they don't have the sufficient materials. The education standard is lacking and they don't have the first hand on hand experience. So in this pretext, past judgment is very important, and as we will see that in the next topic, that how the new technological intervention in this case will help. So the court said that it is well settled that writ can lie only for the enforcement of the right stabilized by the laws and Article 21 of the Constitution, but it cannot be stretched to encompass in itself a right of an advocate to claim a monthly stipend from the Bar Council. The demand was of around 5,000 rupees per month. So it is very clear that, you know, such type of demand cannot be made by a writ petition. But on the other hand, on a prescriptory tone, the court said that the senior advocate and other advocates should be more empathetic towards the lawyer and should offer them stipend. Okay. So in this case, what is the meaning of empathy? So values, human dignity and rights, attitude, responsibility and respects, skills, listening and observing, empathy and cooperation, and knowledge and critical understanding. Knowledge and critical understanding of self, so that we can relate with any other one. And if we will able to do it, then we will be empathetic to the situations as and when demanded. So this was about the connection with the paper 4. Now, next page, if you will analyze the news. So there is this news that Amit Shah is visiting Jammu and Kashmir on page number 7. Yes. So, the problem is that, you know, third largest population in the Jammu and Kashmir is of Bakkarwals and Gujars. They are considered tribals there. Largely they are of Muslim religion, but now the Pahadis, which generally are of Pir Pranjal range and occupy in the same occupation, so they were also demanding the ST status. Previously, the governor has ordered a 4% reservation for them, but now the central government has allowed that they should be accorded the tribal status. And against this, the Gujars and Bakkarwals are protesting. So, and they are saying that they are not an ethnic group, but are of different religion and linguistic communities. Hence, they do not constitute the very basic definition of the tribals in India. So, this is the contention of the other group. But it is relevant from the perspective of the paper 1, because we see that we are witnessing a trend towards the tribalization. What is tribalization, or for that matter? You see that every other month or frequently in the news, you will hear that some groups or other groups are protesting for some kind of reservation benefit. Reservation is what? And if you will only get it when you are educationally, socially backward. So, and backward in the class position. In case of tribals, yes, they are backwards both in all the aspects, but the problem is, not the problem, but the situation is that, see, initially we cared about the spiritual or ritual aspect of their life. That's why there was the notion of the Brahmins, that they were up in the social hierarchy. They commanded the respect from every other sections. They had the power, they had the privilege, and they had the property. But with constitution, these things are eroding. Now, the thing is that if you are from social and educational background, if you are socially backward, then you can get the government jobs. So for getting the government jobs, reservation certainly helps. So that's why nobody wants to move up in the case of rituals or the purity that was demanded by rituals aspect. Now they are more towards the secular, that probably if I will get the reservation, then I will get the job, I will get the better bride and the perks associated with a government job. Probably you have seen many shorts that what is the importance of government job in India. So you see that these earthly goals जो दिख रहा है, नहीं कि जो जन्म के बाद होगा, not after death what will happen, nobody cares about that. So we are moving towards a trend where people wants to be Sudra or people wants to get the tribal status so that they can get more and more benefits. But the problem is, particularly in case of tribals, that who is a tribe is not certainly defined in case of India. The only aspect that the proper definition in case of tribes is made is Article 342(1), where the constitution and president decides who is a tribe. But what is the basis of Article 342(1)? The thing is that during the colonial times, the British civil servant worked as a sociologist or anthropologist to identify the tribes in India. But the situation in India is very different when we compare it with the other parts of the world. But a common notion was derived that they were considered tribes, generally considered according to Western notion that tribes generally occupy same common geographical areas. Okay, common name, each tribe has a distinct name of its own through which it distinguishes from the other. Common language, member of one tribe speak the same language, each tribe has its own dialect and not the script. Okay, endogamy, they marry within their own caste system. Political organizations, they have councils of elders to control the members. So this way, and particularly they were segmentary, means they resided in the secluded areas. So these are some of the features that define tribes, particularly if we see Red Indians or the Aborigines or the Australians. So this was the nature of the tribal definition. But in case of India, if you will see that they are never a homogeneous unit. And anybody who is aware of Mahabharat, आपको याद होगा ना कि वो दुर्योधन को पकड़ लिया था ट्राइब्स ने, ओके, राम ने सबरी के बेर खाए थे, है ना, तो who was Sabri? Sabri was basically a tribe, she resided in the jungle. Moreover, there is, even in the ancient text, any of the text, there is a clear-cut segregation between Jan and Jati. Adivasi is derived from Jan. So who are the Jans? Jans who resided in the tribals. But you see, except some cases, most of the tribals in India had a continued interaction with the main civilization. Even it is said during the Mauryan times, tribals interacted with supplied the iron, supplied the vegetables, and if you go into the detail, some says that Sudra or the backward caste in India basically framed when tribals interacted with the caste in India. As they got into the caste, they become backward caste. So there is no common definition in India. If we consider language, then you see there is a tribe Bhil of Madhya Pradesh. They had the kingdom, so they were not segmentary in nature. Some tribes followed religion, Hindu religion. Some tribes, they had their own religion, so there was no common religion. Bhils and Meenas speak Hindi, so there is no notion of common language. So you see that all the standard definitions of tribes in India is missing. So this is the definitional problem, and it is there because British ethnographers, British sociologists and anthropologists identified that they should be the tribe based on the definition what was prevailing in the West. So, because of this, we are not identifying the tribes in India, and because of this, due to gaining the benefits of reservation, different castes are claiming that they are tribes or OBCs. So, we see a trend towards the Sudrais or tribalization for getting the material benefit. Okay. Now, this is, you see that there was continuity, we are moving towards the goal of the technology, we are using the light combat helicopters and such other, and yet there are fight for the traditions or fight for the reservation or fight for the preserving the traditions. That's why it is said that we are living in the era of continuity and change, where tradition coexists with the modernity. Helicopter is modernity and ritual status, caste, such things are continuity or tradition. So, that is why you see that uniformity and diversity. What is unity and diversity? Yes, there are multiple practices, diversified practices, but there is a common element of unity even in the Indian civilization. So, that is why it is important from the perspective of the paper one, which reminds me that there was this question that there are so many different criteria for identifying the tribals, then how you will identify the tribals? So, this was the this year question, okay, and of the discussion will follow on the 7th probably or 8th, the UPSC paper one, which you can see it, but this was the question and you have to show it that how Bhils had the language of the Bhils were Hindi, they were kingdoms, Bhil kingdom in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, so there was no territorial integration or territorial limitations, and they followed different religions. Meena largely are Hindus, they do not have their own religion, many of the tribals do not have their own dialect, and at the other side we have Santalese, okay, Andaman Nicobar tribes, they completely are segregated from the means civilization. So, there are so many differences. So, but the common element egalitarian, if we talk about the egalitarianism, the political structure, they here the eldest, after globalization we are seeing that there are development of the classes, means now tribals are identified that how they are living in the market, okay, or classes, the egalitarian is subsequently eroding. So, there is no common criteria for identifying the tribes in India, but largely if we talk about the tribes, they are most of the deprived people in India. So, deprivation can be considered as one common consensus point where we can identify and tribes based on the geographical location. So, this was about the tribes. Now, mapping Neanderthals. So, basically what is important here is that when we discuss that this year Nobel Prize for the physiology or medicine has been given to whom? Svante Pääbo. So, what he did is that he identified a new branch of genetics, of identifying the DNA, where he analyzed the mitochondrial DNA. So, they have the DNA, but it is very in limited quantity, but it is very stable. So, based on this, he identified the mitochondrial, the genetics of the humans, and it helped in the understanding the evolutions of the humans. So, Neanderthals, Svante, so there are so many groups. So, he identified. What is important to understand, you know that nuclear DNA are called mitochondrial DNA or called the powerhouse of the cell, and it is an organelle inside, it has own DNA. It is different from that. Although genome is small and only contains a fragmented of genetic information in the cell, it is present in thousands of copies. This increases the chances of successful sequencing. So, he identified this, and based on this he started a new branch, phenology. Okay, so that is why he was given the Nobel Prize this year. Now, other news, Shiv Sena. So I believe that most of you are aware with the Shiv Sena. So what is the EC's role, Election Commission's role in identifying such kind of disputes? The common principle that generally followed was test of the majority, that how many people, how many MPs and MLAs and MLCs are there, and it has hold a value of time to time that the number of the majority of the people can be identified, the section with which the majority is there can be identified as the main group. But what if it is unrecognized, registered but unrecognized political parties? In this case, Election Commission usually advises the different factions to resolve their differences internally or to approach the court. So you see that last year there was a, last year, there was a political party, Lok Janshakti political party of Bihar, Ramvilas Paswan. So after he died, so his brother and his son fought over the faction, and it was subsequently awarded to his brother. So not awarded, but somehow it was not decided, Election Commission awarded it, and there are so many fights, like in the case of Mulayam Singh Yadav and Akhilesh Yadav, that who is the main party, and the test of majority was held. So since 1968, since the very first Congress government, when it disintegrated, Congress O and Congress I were identified. So based on the number of the majority, a symbol is awarded to a political party, and in this case, Article 15 is very important. When the Election Commission is satisfied that they are rival sections or a group of a recognized political party, each of them claims to be the party. Commission may, after taking into account all the available facts and circumstances of the cases and hearing their representative and other persons as desired to be heard, decide that one such rival section or group or none of such rival sections or group is that recognized political party, and the decision of the commission shall be binding upon the different sections. So you see that Election Commission, based on, see, there was a judgment of the Supreme Court that the test of the majority was identified as the valid criteria, and Supreme Court is holding it over time. So right now, even in 97 there was a judgment, the Election Commission said that, you see, that political parties generally fight over a symbol. So, the parent political party should be considered. So, based on that judgment, for the first time in 1997, it changed. But still, you see that largely the test of majority is held, and it should be seen in the different pretext. But the important point here is that what happens during the times of election. So in the times of election, when there is an election, Election Commission freezes the election that political party symbol. And you must have heard that when Jayalalitha section, after the death of Jayalalitha, there was a freeze on the Election Commission symbol of AIDMK. And only after the elections were over, different sections were enabled. Now, this is another live streaming of the Supreme Court judgment or Supreme Court hearings. So, what are the advantage of it, and the disadvantage will be taken later. See, it enables the ordinary people of the country to view without any barrier the working of the highest court of the land, and will go to a long way in instilling faith in the judiciary as well as fostering a critical dialogue. You see that, you know, right now the conditions in the Supreme Court is that not everybody can hear. And the thing about law is that the more you will see it, the more you will learn it. You will understand the process, you will understand the validity of the arguments. So this part was missing. Moreover, the Supreme Court was considered as an elitist, where elitism was favored. So as the live streaming will appear on different media platforms, so people will be more aware of the rules of law, rule of the law and the democratic process associated in it. So this is one other important. Third, that the young lawyers will see the court rulings and the court hearing and they will develop the knack. The problem right now is India, not most of the people are going for the litigation. They are going either for the corporate or the UPSC or the bank. So see, litigation itself is time consuming. It has a long gestation period. You have to learn it through years and years, and only then you will be able to develop as a good lawyer. So the moment you will start hearing this live stream judgments of the Supreme Court, you will understand someone will understand the processes and such. Even if he is not practicing as a lawyer, but it will result in an informed citizenry. Okay, so it will evolve in an informed citizenry. Moreover, transparency in judicial decision making can be seen. But again, these are the advantage. One point is that you see that we are always available for the public opinion. So what will happen when under a popular pressure, the judgment will change? How to control it? This is a line which has not been answered yet. Probably you see that people, the moment people start seeing it, okay, they will be commenting upon everything. You see that is the status of the social media right now. That there is a clear-cut difference between the knowledge and the information. So before going into that, there was another topic in the international section, education, different pretext. We will link it with that one. Okay. So what is this topic? That in the Gaza belt of Israel, Israel is changing the standard educational textbook. And the Palestinians are opposing it. According to Israel, these textbooks are radicalizing young ones because it is not giving them the complete context. The Palestinians are saying that no, you are trying to completely desegregate the realities or detach the reality from what has actually happened. You have presented a more romanticized view. So the thing is that what is information and what is knowledge is different, and what is data, it is also different. So you have to understand it, because you see that whenever information changes, it alters the conclusion. Why? We have multiple viewpoint or multiple perspective of seeing the things. Multiple perspective, probably one can see it from the left perspective, and when we see it from the left perspective, then you will see that okay, the government austerity measures and the government subsidies or freebies are fine because it is empowering the citizen. When when we see it from the capitalist perspective, no, it will result in increased inflation, investment will not come, it will increase overall the cost, and it will create a conditions of the moral hazard where people will be dependent upon their freebies, and the democratic compulsions or the realities, the economic utilities will amiss. So you see that we have different perspectives of seeing anything. And if we have data and if we try to see it from the different perspective, then it changes the information. And then what is knowledge? Knowledge refers to the relevant and objective information gained through experience. So it is not what we are getting from the educational textbook. Rather, it is what we are analyzing it, using through the experience. Now, what is information? When the facts obtained are systematically presented in a given context, it is known as information. And this is where the contention between the Israel and Palestine is there. Now, what is information? It is in refined data, knowledge, useful information. Outcome, By information, we are able to comprehend any situation. But by knowledge, we are able to understand any situation. See, understanding depends upon empathy. That how we are analyzing it. What would have been the situation if I was present? So understanding is what? Understanding that you see it from a different perspective. Or you understand it as you were in that case. You do use your own experience. So that is understanding. Prediction. By information alone, we are not able to predict anything. Yes, for example, just take the cricket match. Okay, both teams are there. We have the information of all the 11 players. Okay, and prediction. So, will you be able to predict this only if you have the information, or you will of required knowledge, the pitch conditions, the seam ballers, the swing ballers, and there are a lot of such information, what has happened in previously, or what is the condition now, that how it will alter the bowling, the swing, and such other things. So only then you will be able to use your knowledge to predict anything. The amount of poverty or the percentage of poverty is this much there. So this is one information. But what is knowledge? Knowledge that how many are above BPL, how many are in the disguised BPL, how many are disguised in unemployed. So these are the your experience based on which you will be able to withdraw any conclusion using your knowledge. So the connection is data, information, knowledge. You need a perspective to analyze data in information, and you need experience for gaining knowledge. So how it is relevant with this part? You see that we will get the information of the Supreme Court judgment or the hearing, but we don't, or data rather, but we don't have the required perspectives. So the questions and the judgment of the Supreme Court is open to integration in a mass mindset, in the mindset of the social media whoards, okay, in the mindset of the those people who make the TikTok videos without any relevant information. So this is where judges are open to popular pressure. That what will people think about me, because ultimately they are the parts of the society, na? So this is where this fact was important. Now, the other part is tax cut. Tax cut, why it is in the news? See, Britain has revised the tax cut. Okay, in the international page you can see it, that the British government of Liz Truss has revised the tax cut that was imposed, or tax cut on the rich. People protested against it. So you see that why people are protesting against it. What is the rationale behind the tax cut? Okay, so these are the things which we have to understand. Is tax cut always good? Like even in India we do have the corporate tax cut. So what are the rationale behind, and it is a very big topic, but for the paucity of time I will try to explain it as briefly as possible. You see that the purpose of tax cut is what? That a middle class person or a poor person will invest, he will not invest, rather he will try to buy the things, necessary things, and if it is fine, then he will invest in the that limited saving will be invested. But in case of rich people, consumption is low. So whenever they will get the benefits, they will invest in the market. And as they will invest in the market, more business opportunity will grow. More people will get the employment. Okay. But is it the case always that as you will save, you will invest in the market? And this was the basic philosophy of the mixed economy, trickle down. Trickle down, according to some opinion, doesn't work. When it will work? When there will be physical investment. When benefits, it allows the will of individual to redirect their wealth into the increase in productive investment, and as these investments are made, they subsequently increases the productive capacity of the economy. Now, the case one is that if taxes on the wealthy are cut with no change in physical expenditure, then it will not benefit the larger section of the society. You see that during the times of COVID, we heard that 643 billionaires in India have opted for citizenship in a more developed country. Now, when they will opt for the citizenship in a developed country, where is the reinvestment? Where is the physical expenditure? So, now in this case, what happens is wealth is effectively transferred from an average household to a wealthy ones, because the middle class and the poor will pay tax, and this tax will be accumulated. So, in this case, tax cut doesn't work. Second, total saving only rises, in other words, if total investment rises. But as we said that if the investment is not rising, saving will not rise, people will not get the employment. And if people will not get the employment, so what will happen? Overall profit will reduce in the business savings. These will counter the rise in the saving of the rich. So it has a longer consequences. So this was the 3 points. See, if there is only reinvestment, only then, that is the purpose of the corporate taxes, that there is a waiver on the corporate taxes. Why? Because the government of India, for that matter, any government thinks that if there will be reinvestment by the companies, okay, only then, say for example, see of the case with the Ola. See, they started as an aggregator of the cabs, but after that they switched to the electrical vehicles. They are giving the scooties, they are just producing the scooties, so it is generating the employment. So this is, the purpose is this, but is it happening in the other cases? What are the percentage? So this is a bit of a longer debate. Now, there was this news on the 4th page. This news is that many peoples or many scientists have agreed that the decomposers are not working. And this is the issues between the Delhi and Punjab, that Delhi government is saying that the pollutions and such other things is increasing because there is stubble burning in the Punjab and Haryana belt. The purpose that we need the fields clearly as early as possible. So for this, PUSA invented, or PUSA helped with the decomposers, biodecomposers, which are generally in the forms of the capsules, by extracting fungi strains that helps the paddy straw to decompose as much as a faster rate. Okay, the fungi helps to produce essential enzymes for the degradation process. Now, it takes around 20 days and 25 liters of the decomposers, but the results were not coming, and it was very slow. So the solutions of biodecomposer as a remedial measure for stubble burning was not helpful. And though in the long run the advantages are there, as it improves the fertility and productivity of the soils, the stubble works as a manure and compost for the crops and less fertilizer consumption. But you see that it is not really solving the problems of the stubble burning. If it will take time, then people will automatically go for the stubble burning. So this solution as of now is not that effective. Now there is another news, and the last news is that Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI data released at the beginning of every month, is an economic indicator which shows that prevailing manufacturing and service sector, and it is employed by the S&P Global, because the data are revised every month, so you don't have to remember that. What you have to remember that what is PMI and what is the trends, that overall it is right now, it has stable, not increasing, it has decreased, but overall it is stable. So this was all about the Indian expression addition today, and all the important news are nearly covered. Okay, and you will get this PDF along with some questions of the mains and the prelims. Okay, thank you.